Hey, Dr. Kevin here to talk about a great stretch and warm-up routine to do literally every single morning, starting today for the rest of your life. So the whole purpose of this stretch and warm-up routine is not only to warm up your body on a daily basis, but it's also to take your spine through what I like to call spinal hygiene. Something that you should think about just like brushing your teeth on a daily basis. You want to take care of your spine on a daily basis. So I'm not going to go through the full amount of repetitions on this for time's sake, but I'll tell you with every single thing that I'm doing here what I recommend for repetition. So the thing that we're going to start with, and this is what you want to do first thing in the morning, is you want to start with side bending of the spine. And you want to feel a stretch all the way from your low back to the top of your neck. Don't forget about any part of your spine. You're going to move from side to side. I like to think of myself as a puppet on a string, meaning I don't want to be in a slouched position doing this. I want to feel like I'm standing straight upright and feeling that throughout the entire stretch. Every time you move from side to side, it counts as one. So for myself, I do 60 to 100 repetitions in the morning. Find your number. Anything is better than nothing. Every movement counts as a rep. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I start with those. The second one is spinal rotation. With spinal rotation, assume the genie position, and then from there, you want to rotate your entire spine all the way from the bottom of your low back to the top of your neck. Make sure you do not forget about your neck on this. Don't do this. You want to rotate all the way around to both sides. Go as slow or as fast as you need to, making sure you're feeling that stretch in the pelvis, the low back, all the way to the neck. Same thing, I do 60 to 100 repetitions of those as well, depending on how I feel in the morning and how stiff my joints feel and how stiff the muscles feel. The next one is forward and backward motion with the spine. And this one you can also really hit the hamstrings or the back of those upper legs to stretch those. Now with the forward, you want to curl your spine. So I'm going to flex my neck, curl my chin to my chest, and then from there, I'm going all the way down. I keep my knees locked, stretching as low as I can. As I go back, I like to support my pelvis. So I will usually use my fists to put right on my pelvic bones or grabbing onto your waist. Either way, you want to support that pelvis and go backwards as far as you can. Now, if you're anything like me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm pretty stiff, especially if I wake up on my stomach or on my side. I try to sleep on my back, but it doesn't always work out that way in the morning. And a lot of times, the first stretch in the morning, I can literally barely get to my knees. Now, a lot of people never go past that because they don't bother stretching. They just think that this is their norm. It's only your norm if you don't stretch. So I start by barely getting to my knees. By the time I get to 100 repetitions with this one, I can put my palms all the way onto the floor. So you want to make sure you're doing enough reps so that you're really loosening up your spine. So once the spine is loosened up, you want to move to the shoulders. Now the shoulders are one of the most common areas for injury as people get older. Stiffness sets in. And I like to say that people do not get old and stiff. They get stiff and then they get old as a result of that. So doing shoulder rotations is where I start. I call them windmills. I always put my hand up here, just feels like I give myself a little more support and control. I do 15 of these forward right over the top, 15 of those backwards, and I do that with the right side and of course with the left. From there, I give myself my morning hug. I'm going across my body, right arm over left, extend back, left arm over right, and then I end with the shoulders doing jumping jack motion, but just with my arms. So I'm bringing my palms together, and then I go back down, and then I bring the back of my hands together. 15 of those as well. So 15 with each of the shoulder reps. Now, the shoulder motions. From there, I move into more of loosening up my legs. We already hit those hamstrings pretty darn good when we did the forward spinal stretch. But now for hitting the quads as well as your calves, This is more of a warm-up. So this is not necessarily a stretch, although it's going to be a stretch and loosening up for your knee joints. For this, I do what are called air squats. So for me, I want to make sure that I never lose range of motion. So many people can't even do a squat position like this as they get older. I want to make sure that I always maintain at least a 90-degree motion even when I'm 100 years old. So I do this. I put my hands right underneath my chin, and then I drop all the way down to the point where my elbows hit my knees, and then I'm back up, but not just standing up. I want to make sure that I'm hitting my calves, so I go to a calf raise position from there, back down, stand up. I do 15 of those as well, and then I finish with really, this is a warm-up stretch, one of the best full-body exercises that you can do, and that is jumping jacks. So jumping jacks, I do a full range of motion with each one. You want to make sure your shoes aren't slippery. I don't know if you caught that, but I almost fell down there. So make sure your shoes aren't slippery. Put a full range of motion on a jumping jack. And then if you cannot do this, which applies to a lot of people, then you're doing a step-through jumping jack. Same motion with the hands, but your feet are simply stepping to the side each time. So really simple with every single one of those. And I promise you, if you commit to doing this every single day, it will have a huge impact on your life. So many people are full of excuses. I hope you're not one of those. But so many people will say, well, I don't have time. You do have time. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier. I guarantee if you make this part of your morning routine, you will continue to feel better and better and better. I pray that this tip helps you maximize your life.